Hey, modern life feels pretty difficult sometimes, doesn't it? Balancing work and home life, and for many that means, I guess, more stress and anxiety. But there are a handful of people who are bucking that trend, apparently. Yeah, they're called the 2%ers. So just how do they do it? Let's find out. Dr. Andy Cope is happiness expert. I didn't even know that existed. Also positive psychologist, and you're also the author of the Little Book of Being Brilliant. Andy, great to have you with us.
Thanks for having me. Yeah.
So these 2%, I hadn't even heard of it. Tell us about this 2%.
Okay, well, the T-shirt gives you a big clue to that, right? So 2%ers are, I've spent 12 years getting a PhD at Loughborough Uni looking at a subject called positive psychology. So it's this rare, if you plot people on a graph of well-being, there's traditional psychology has always ignored the really, really happy people. So psychology for 130 years has studied phobias, disorders, anxiety, depression, and I know all about that, but we've completely missed the people at the top, the 2%, the people who are already well, the people who've got energy and they're flourishing. And flourishing is when your happiness leaks out of you and it positively creates spirals of emotion in the people around you.
So it's catching. So you would imagine as a boss or management, you would want some of these 2%ers because then that sort of filters out to the other people.
Indeed, indeed. I could argue, I better not because you'll be going demanding a pay rise. I've
already put it out there.
That a 2%er is worth up to about 60 extra days of productivity per year. So they're worth having in the workplace. However, it's much bigger than that because I'm talking about life. If I was to tell your viewers that the average lifespan is 4,000 weeks, okay? Right. If you announce that in a primary school, the kids are like, oh my gosh, that's like forever, that's brilliant. But if you announce it to an adult, there's less punching of the air and there's a bit more of a collective, really? That's not a very big number, yeah? I've used a few. And I'm coming out, I've described it, what the book and our training is a bit like an ECG, you know, when your heart stops and they go...
the pads.
Well, let's wake up to it. Right? Life is a short and precious gift. It's hurtling by in a blur. I've just walked through London with a happy T-shirt on. There's people giving me funny looks because it's in short supply. Happiness is...
There's a lot of grumps in London. Are you suggesting the 2%ers could live longer?
I can't prove that yet, but certainly it's good for your health, it's good for your energy, it's good for vitality. But the biggest thing I've just alluded to, it's good for the people around you as well.
Yeah. Am I one, do you reckon?
I'd have to put you through the questionnaire. I would.
Well, what you see is what you
get. You could be too happy. I don't know because there's a bit of a whirlwind. You know.
I have my moments.
If you come in and going, if you come in on Monday going, woohoo! Don't those weekends drag? That's too far, mate. Yeah.
No, I hate Mondays. I hate Mondays. That's funny. So you've also got a 2%ers club.
We've got a happiness club that we meet once a year, and it's as many people as you can cram in a room. No miserable people allowed. No, and I'm not talking depression and sadness. I'm talking about mediocrity. Most people are a million miles away from feeling as great as they could. Now, what positive psychology does, it unlocks you, gives you the ECG, the wake up to the gloriousness.
So let me ask you then, you don't understand, what do they have, these 2%ers? How do they shrug off the outside?
Well, guess what? They live in exactly the same world that we do. So Brexit's happening to them, and it rains on the 2%ers as well, but they have this fantastic ability to bounce back. So it's okay to not be okay. But what positive psychology does, it gives you strategies that you can use so you can feel okay on a more regular basis. I think being happy is your default position. You look at a 2-year-old, then they're already happy, but what happens as we get older is the world knocks it out of us. We tend to forget, So what positive psychology is a big fat reminder of your 4,000 weeks. Wake up. I was in a company, did a keynote the other week, and there's a guy in the front row and he said, I've worked here 29 years, I've not had a good day yet. And I'm like,
oh my
really?
God!
Do something about it.
Exactly. Look, there are people here that worked at the BBC for, never been out in the real world either,
Okay.
And I think, they could probably do with a bit of real world. Let me ask you this, though, before I get into trouble. This will be my last show, by the way. Can you teach it? Because you work with... It
is a learned behaviour. It is a learned behaviour.
Can you teach it?
You can. It helps if you've got a genetic disposition to being positive anyway, but it is definitely a learned behaviour, which is why we're delivering it in schools now, because we believe that the earlier you can learn the strategies of feeling amazing, then it helps you have a better life.
Dr. Andy Cope, you're a star. We really appreciate that. You and I are going to go quickly to Wall Street right now to take a look at how the markets are faring, and the markets are down. Look, that's just pretty much following the rest of the doldrums in Europe and a lot of Asia as well. That's it. I'm back tomorrow, same time, same place in this yucky studio. Philippa's back at the top of the hour with Impact. Tweet me. I'll tweet you back. You can get me at BBC Aaron. Have a great day. See you soon. Thank you.